Weak website? It could be a superstar. We do A/B testing, personalization, social proof, product recommendations, baseline analysis to bring your bottom line over the line. Visit webtrends-optimize.com or call 0333 444 5502 today. Weak website? It could be a superstar. We do A/B testing, personalization, social proof, product recommendations, baseline analysis to bring your bottom line over the line. Visit webtrends-optimize.com or call 0333 444 5502 today. Weak website? It could be a superstar. We do A/B testing, personalization, social proof, product recommendations, baseline analysis to bring your bottom line over the line. Visit webtrends-optimize.com or call 0333 444 5502 today. Weak website? It could be a superstar. We do A/B testing, personalisation, social proof, product recommendations, baseline analysis to bring your bottom line over the line. Visit webtrends-optimise.com or call 0333 444 5502 today. Weak website? It could be a superstar. We do A/B testing, personalisation, social proof, product recommendations, baseline analysis to bring your bottom line over the line. Visit webtrends-optimise.com or call 0333 444 5502 today.
New Zealand has been delayed by injury, probably won't be coming to Somerset now until May. So it's a significantly weakened Somerset attack to match up with a significantly weakened Sussex attack.
It is, because there is no Ollie Robinson for Sussex. Now, Paul Farbrace up at Edgbaston last week did allude to the fact that Ollie only bowled 4 overs in the second innings. I mean, I thought he bowled very well in the first innings, actually, and he looked as fit as fiddle and looked good, but he's picked up a foot injury now. Paul Farbrace did mention that at the end of the game, so I did have my doubts whether he would play today. Now, the club have described it as a minor foot injury, so I'm sure everybody at Sussex is hoping that it is just a minor foot injury. Actually, before I do anything else, one thing I haven't done, and I always do, is to make sure we're going out loud and clear around the ground. And we are. We can see people waving on the top tech of the Spenkheimer
there we
Pavilion.
are,
So,
yeah.
hello everybody, welcome back to Hove. What a lovely day to be here for the opening day of the season. So thank you to our correspondents around the ground. Yes, it's a big blow for Sussex. The other blow is that Henry Crocombe, who I think might well have started the season for Sussex. He was away with the Lions over the winter. I understand that Henry has some sort of a shoulder issue. We don't know the severity of that. So no Henry Crocombe at the minute. So Sean Hunt, the left-arm seamer, comes into the side. He'll open the bowling alongside Jayden Seales. But similarly, Anthony, Sussex quick bowling attack a little weakened as well. One thing that Ben Gibson, the groundsman, did say to me was that, and as you were alluding to there with Jack Leach, he does think it will turn a little later on in the game. So hopefully we're going to get, and without being in any way disrespectful to Edgbaston last week, it was very flat at Edgbaston last week. It was always
Not as flat as it was at Taunton.
Well, almost. So, let's hope we get a good day of four-day cricket. And I think the forecast, with the exception of, there's a bit of doubt around Sunday, but it's not going to be a monsoon. I think there's maybe a shower or two, but the latest forecast I saw suggested we might get a dry day. So, we're set for 4 good days cricket. Just to mention to everybody that if you're coming on Sunday, it is free admittance here on Sunday. So if you're listening wherever you are, you have to go onto the Sussex website, click on the link, and you can get your free tickets. So there should be a bumper crowd here on Sunday, and it looks like a decent crowd here today as the 2 umpires emerge from the pavilion, Rob White and James Middlebrook making their way out to the middle. Lovely blue skies. I mean, really, Anthony, it couldn't be any better today.
Looks a picture, I must say. The outfield compares with that of the county ground in Taunton, and that's high praise. Indeed. And, this is Sussex cricket at Hove in ex-Chelsea under perfect conditions.
Well, the umpires are making way out. They look resplendent in their white coats and black trousers and their what do you call those hats? Sort of boat, they're Panamas, that's the word I'm looking for, and their white shoes. And here come Somerset, led out by their skipper Lewis Gregory, and behind them I can see the 2 Sussex openers, both left-handers, Tom Haynes and Daniel Hughes. 5 of the Sussex top order are left-handers, so we'll have plenty of left-handed batting in the early stages. Now, just a report, it wouldn't be the same if we didn't have some sort of IT problem here at Hove today, and I have. So the normal email address, which is sussexcricket@bbc.co.uk, is currently not working. So if you have got emails and you'd like to send them through to adrian.harms, Harms, @bbc.co.uk. Just for today only, adrian.harms @bbc.co.uk. We love to have your interactions throughout the day, and it'd be lovely to hear you. We have got a third voice here this week. Nikki Chowdhury is going to be with us, and Nikki will be joining us at 11:30. I've got a little rotor I've set up,
well done,
so we'll put that there. So between Nikki, Anthony and myself, we will bring you the action. I'm here on Sunday. Sam Keir will be me on Sunday, but rest assured we will be here. Now it looks like, is this Josh Davey?
It is Josh Davey.
Yeah.
And if you want to tweet us or tweet me, you can do so on X or Twitter @AntGib. So do let us have your thoughts on what's going on out in the middle.
So we have got 4 slips, a point, mid-off, mid-on, a square leg and a fine leg all the way down to the distance. And one of the problems last week at Edgbaston, it was a lovely week for weather. It was a bit blowy. And so a lot of the players had their jumpers on, and you couldn't tell their names on the back. So I'm reliant on Anthony here to do.
I can tell you who the slip is: Lewis Gregory at first, Casey Aldridge at second, Tom Lammonby at third, and Tom Abel at fourth.
So here we go, Josh Davey, opening ball of the season here at Hove, down the leg side, let go by Daniel Hughes and taken by James Rue behind the stumps. First ball gone, and I have to say there's a bit of high-level cloud towards the downs, but apart from that, it just looks fabulous. And as Anthony was saying, when the outfield at Taunton is immaculate, and this one is on a par, so no excuses for misfields, really.
No. It's a good day to bat, I reckon.
Yeah, Sussex winning the toss, and John Simpson no hesitation in batting first as in comes Davey, right arm around the wicket, bowls to Hughes. That's another one down the leg side taken by Rue, and immediately Davey has a look at the bottom of his soles of his boots. Don't know if he And umpire Middlebrook doing a bit of scratching away at the crease. One of the things here at Hove, Anthony, it's always interesting because there is a slope on the ground, and although a lot of these players will have played T20 cricket here, it is a ground that takes a bit of getting used to, and they wouldn't have played, not many of these guys would have played a 4-day match here, if any.
Tom Abel, I think, was in that side in 2015. Josh Davey might have been. Jack Leach probably was. And I think that would probably be about it. I'll have a look back at the scorecard, but and quite a few of these players wouldn't have necessarily have played in the T20 Blast sides either for Somerset.
In comes Davey. Bold does a better delivery, which is let go by Daniel Hughes, taken going down the leg side. Well, that moved a bit after pitching, and there is no run. Smartly taken by Rue, and there is no run. Good crowd in, as you would expect on the opening day. Sussex with a couple of sort of plum opening fixtures really here at Hove. Somerset this week, but then Surrey coming over the Easter weekend. The weather forecast is not quite as good next week, but we'll worry about that when it happens. As Davey, the opening over, runs in right arm around the wicket. He's in and bowls, and Hughes lets that one go through to Rue, and there is no run. Lots of changes here at Hove during the winter months. They've got the new cricket sixes, which is where Greg's Cafe used to be. That's where you can go in and sort of you get your bat in a net, and you can face any bowler of your choice. So if you want to face Jofra Archer or someone, you can. And it's a soft ball, I have to say. That's one of the changes around the ground. As in comes Davey again, and bowls, and he's yet to get bat on ball yet is Daniel Hughes, and this one thumps into the thigh pad, and he very obligingly bends down, picks up the ball and gives it to keeper Rue. Just to mention, the Sussex Museum will be open today. They've got a book sale outside, so if you're thinking of something to do at lunchtime, you want to have a wander around, please do so. And books from, well, pretty much every era of cricket over there, and Keith Ridge, the curator, and his band of volunteers will be over there today at the museum, which opens officially at lunchtime. As in comes Davey and bowls, and driven by Daniel Hughes. There's a quickly taken single. Tom Haynes has to get a bit of a shifty on to get through for the single, but nonetheless he gets through, and it is the end of the opening over, and Sussex are one without loss. Daniel Hughes is on one, Tom Haynes yet to score, and I'm very honoured. I've been asked to open the museum for the season today.
Oh, lovely.
So that'll be nice. I think I'm told apparently there is a ribbon they sort of bring out every year. So
I've never been asked to do the same for the Somerset Cricket Museum, but we are open all the year round. Well, not so regularly in the winter, but yes, I'm a trustee of the Somerset Cricket Museum.
Excellent.
That Somerset team back in 2015: Marcus Trescothick, Tom Abel. Trescothick got 200 in the first innings. Tom Abel, Tom Cooper, the Australian, James Hildreth, who's retired, Jim Allenby, retired, Pete Trigo, Luke Ronchi, the New Zealander, Craig Overton, Jamie Overton, Tim Groenewold, and Jack Leach. So only Leach and Abel surviving from that game back in 2015.
And I would say there is none of the Sussex lineup who have survived. Pretty certain about that.
We have got skipper coming in from the Cromwell Road end, Lewis Gregory, bowling down the hill to Hughes. He's in and bowls, and Daniel Hughes, the Australian left-hander, just comes quietly forward and defends that back to the bowler. Somerset would have been hoping to open the attack here at Hove in the second game of the season with Matt Henry and Craig Overton. Neither is in this team, with Matt Henry still in New Zealand and Craig Overton either not quite fit or rotated out. Here's Gregory to Hughes, who mistimes a drive to full-length delivery from Lewis Gregory. We've got the four slips again in echelon, and they are Tom Abel, Casey Aldridge, Tom Lammonby, and I can't see the fourth slip rather at the moment, as Gregory is in around the wicket to the left-handed. Hughes is there and bowls, and it's Archie Vaughan at fourth slip. First time I've seen Archie Vaughan fielding in the slips. Backward point, mid-off, mid-on, mid-wicket is Jack Leach, and Josh Davey down to right at long leg. Lewis Gregory turning with the apartments behind him. He's in, bowls, and this goes past the outside edge, and not by much, judging by the reaction of the slips. They thought they'd got their man there. Good delivery, best delivery of the game so far from Lewis Gregory, getting that one to go sharply away from the left-hander. I tell you one thing that may be unique about this game, Adrian. There are 6 Toms in it.
Ah, that's a great stat.
Which is more than a quarter of the... no, it's not more than a quarter. And this is turned up. Nice shot, straight drive. Up to the long-on boundary, over-pitched from Lewis Gregory, and very nicely timed by Daniel Hughes. Yeah, Tom Haynes, Tom Clark and Tom Alsop for Sussex.
Who are all left-handers.
Tom Lammonby, who's another left-hander. Tom Abel and Tom Banton for Somerset. So 6 of them. 6 out of 22 players.
It is a popular name.
Gregory into Hughes. He's there and bowls and goes past the outside edge again. That's twice in this over. Good over from Lewis Gregory. Spoilt to some extent by that leg stump half volley that was handsomely driven by Hughes up to long on. But that is the end of the second over. It is 5 without loss, all 5 of those runs to Daniel Hughes.
John Malone's been in touch from Bexhill. He says, hello Adrian, Anthony and Nikki. Welcome back, looking forward to the match. Hove is looking in good shape. You're coming through loud and clear via the website, although a little advanced of the picture. Yeah, that does happen occasionally. As I say, just the email address for today. You can email me directly, adrian.harms@bbc.co.uk. And it is going to be Josh Davey who's going to bowl the 3rd over of the day to the left-handed Tom Haynes, who's yet to face a ball so far today. Daniel Hughes, all 5 runs to his name, as Davey is in bowls and let go. A bit of movement actually after that, as it went through to the keeper, but let go by Haynes, and there is no run. A very good morning, welcome to Hove. If you've just joined us, the news from the middle is that Sussex won the toss and elected to bat first. No Ollie Robinson, he's replaced by Sean Hunt. And I've got a message from Keith Ridge, who runs the museum actually, and he says, please do let listeners know that we have a free quiz available. Questions relate to Sussex and Somerset games, pick up from the bookstall. So there we are. In comes Davey bowls, he beats Haynes, that's a good delivery outside the off stump. Tom Haynes playing forward, the ball whistles past the outside edge, taken by Rue, and there is no run. So a little bit of early movement perhaps here for the Somerset opening bowlers.
They're pitching it up as well, giving it every chance to swing, bowling a good full length. I would have thought this pitch, these conditions might suit Josh Davey. He's not an out-and-out quick bowler. Relies on movement through the air and off the pitch. He's
in again. Bowls to Haynes, and Haynes is forward, a little uncomfortably, plays to backward point, and there is no run.
That's Archie Vaughan there at backward point. Jack Leach polishing the ball in his cricket trousers at mid-off. Tom Banton at mid-on. Sean Dixon at mid-wicket.
Sam's been in touch and he says he thinks the last First Division cricket here was actually Sussex v Somerset.
It probably would be, yeah, because it was in September 2015. Yep.
Well, I covered the last game at Leeds when they were down, so that's great. Thank you, Sam. In comes Davey again, bowls, and Tom Haynes plays a curious shot. He takes his hand or one hand off the bat, the ball goes through to keeper, but just asking a few questions are these Somerset opening bowlers.
Yes, it was almost as if he changed his mind halfway through that shot. Tom Haynes, shaping up to play a square cut, and was almost through the shot when he decided it was the wrong shot to play and tried to pull his bat out of the way, and it was past his outside edge.
4 slips are very close together, almost in each other's pockets, as in comes Davey again, round the wicket bowls, and this time Haynes hammers that one away through the covers for 4 runs. Lovely shot by Tom Haynes, very much the way that he likes to play, Tom Haynes. He's an attacking opener buying 10, and there was just a little bit too much width there from Davey, and Haynes very quickly onto that and belting that through the covers for 4. The wicket this week is set more towards the Spenkarma Pavilion side of the ground, so there's a very long boundary towards the clock tower scoreboard, a shorter boundary towards the pavilion side of the ground. Haynes on his way, 9 without loss. Sussex, barely a breath of wind. The flags on the flag poles on the clock tower scoreboard are absolutely limp to the mast at the moment. As Davey wheels around, number 38 on the back of his shirt, and runs away from us. In and bowls, and Haynes is forward and plays this firmly into the covers. There's a point and a bit off, but there was enough space for him to play the ball into the gap and pick up another single at the end of the over. So 3 overs gone here at Hove. Sussex, having won the toss, are 10 without loss, with both Hughes and Haynes on 5 apiece.
Last time I was here, there was a refreshment tent down away to our right called Cow Corner.
Yes.
Has that long since disappeared?
Yeah, well, only this season, actually. Funny you should mention that, because it was always referred to as Cow Corner, but now it's sponsored by... and I'm going to go look at it in a minute, because I was told yesterday, and I've got such a terrible memory I've forgotten, but they've got new sponsors now for that particular area of the ground. I think they still know it's going to be referred to as Cow Corner, because it is Cow Corner. It is,
absolutely. Here's Gregory in and bowls and turns Haynes around with that delivery. Another good one from Gregory. 3rd time he's gone past the outside edge. Josh Davies managed it twice, but no joy yet for Somerset. They'll be looking to make a couple of early breakthroughs, at least, because I suspect this will prove to have been the best time to bowl during the first day. With unbroken sunshine forecast. Here's Gregory in bowls to Haynes, who turns this into the onside. Jack Leachfield's at mid-wicket.
Important season for Tom. I mean, so many of this Sussex top order haven't played First Division cricket. I mean, Tom Haynes has played all Second Division cricket. He's been on a couple of Lions tours. So a big season for Tom against First Division opposition, and he made a couple of scores last week. What did he make? 17 in one innings, and check what he made in the second.
It's Gregory in bowls, and Haynes plays around his front pad, and Tom Banton comes tumbling across from mid-off to the fielding. Yeah, Tom Haynes, this is his 75th game of first-class cricket, averages 37.4, best of 243 against Derbyshire in 2022.
Yes.
So he's obviously capable of playing long innings, if not quite in the Tom Banton class of long innings. 371. Gregory in bowls to Haynes, who drives, and Banton will field that at mid-off. I was thinking that Murphy's Law would dictate that Tom Banton gets 371 in his first innings and then it's out for a duck here in his second. But
you must have enjoyed watching that last week.
Oh, it was wonderful. It was beautifully fluent innings. He's a very very attractive batsman to watch, and he strike rate was 92 runs. 92 runs per 100 balls, which is more than respectable. And he only hit 2 sixes, which is very un-Banton-like. Gregory in and bowls, takes Haynes on the pad. They take what I think will be signalled by Rob White as a leg bye. It is indeed. Takes the score on to 13 without loss, 5 to each batsman. There must have been a no ball.
Watching from afar, Anthony, I think Worcestershire were 5 down, weren't they, overnight? I mean, there was a few people saying, "Oh, maybe Somerset should have declared earlier." I mean, was that a possibility? Or
here comes Gregory round the wicket outside the off stump to Hughes. I think if they were going to declare, they could have declared when Tom Banton got 300 and given themselves 2 bites of the cherry. 8 overs with the new ball on the Saturday evening against a pretty tired Worcestershire fielding side, especially given the fact that the Worcestershire wicketkeeper was one of the openers. But once they decided to bat to the close, I think they thought, well, we've got 2 days in which to bowl Worcestershire out. Gregory in and bowls and goes past the outside edge. We might as well give Tom Banton the chance to make a really big score, a record-breaking score. He was 344 not out overnight. He only had another Graham Hicks 405 at Taunton. And I think, they maybe just took it a little bit too much for granted that they could bowl Worcestershire out in the best part of 2 days, and they didn't need 2 days, a whole 2 days or 2 days and a bit.
Josh Davey is in, bowls to Haynes, who's forward and plays without timing down the onside of the track, and there is no run. But I guess from a Worcestershire point of view, I mean, that's incredible to last that long.
Oh, yeah, I mean, they showed great resolve and determination and grittiness, and Michael Atherton devoted his entire weekly column in the Times to it yesterday, because, of course, Atherton famously declared when Hick was 95 not out in a test match against Australia in 1997 and was roundly criticised for it. He's now admitted he was completely wrong.
Davey in, bowls to Haynes, and again beats Haynes outside the off stump. This is a good opening spell by Josh Davey, who's just causing Tom Haynes 1 or 2 little problems out there.
But Atherton's take was that probably Somerset should have declared overnight on Saturday and put the team before the individual performance, but it doesn't necessarily always apply. And I don't think there's any guarantee that had Somerset had 2 full days instead of just 200 overs to bowl Worcestershire out, they would have done so. It was such a slow pitch.
Davey in again, bowls to Haynes. There's a loud appeal from Josh Davey. Well, the ball went through to James Roux, so I don't know whether that was for a catch behind or for an LBW.
LBW, I think it was. I think it must have just flicked the front pad. James Middlebrook, I think, thought quite long and hard about that.
Yes, I think he did. The good news is that the IT problems, my IT problems, not Anthony, seem to be getting solved. So
it's a very good shout. Didn't get anything on it.
So I think Sussex Cricket at bbc.co.uk is now working, but a big shout against Tom Haynes. Must
have been an inside edge, I think.
13 without loss. Davey in again, bowls, and Haynes gets an outside edge. He's going to get 4 runs, but a streaky 4 runs as the ball goes over the head of 4th slip and runs away to the boundary at the Cromwell Road end of the ground. But not a shot that will instill Tom Haynes with huge amounts of confidence. He's still there. He's on 9, and Sussex 17 without loss. Joe Freeman's been in touch. Hello, Joe. He says, glorious day for the first day of the championship here at Hove. Just to let you know, the commentary is coming through clear on FM radio in the ground. I'm basking in the sun on the top deck of the pavilion. So thank you, Joe, for getting in touch.
It's a leading edge, that, with Haynes looking to turn that into the onside and getting a leading edge over the top of leaping Tom Abel.
Davey in again, bowls, and this time Haynes plays that into the gap on the offside. There's a point and a mid-off. There's a big gap, and Tom Haynes taking advantage of that and probably quite pleased to get off strike. He goes to 10 and Sussex to 18 without loss. Just to reiterate, here on BBC Radio Sussex. Are you BBC Radio Somerset, Anthony, or
just BBC Somerset these days?
Oh, we've got our lunch vouchers have arrived from Jamie, the Sussex press officer. Thank you. I don't know where we go these days. Oh, the burger van next door. Hope you like burgers.
The healthy eating option. Healthy eating option.
He comes, Davey around the wicket, bowls, and Hughes is solidly and watchfully forward, placed to mid-wicket. There is no run. It is the end of the over, 18 without loss. Hughes on 5, Haynes is on 10. To say, if you're a late joiner, Where have you been? We've had 5 overs this morning. Sussex winning the toss, electing to bat first. No Ollie Robinson with this minor foot issue, and no Craig Overton for Somerset. But enough here to give the Somerset bowlers in this opening 20 minutes just a little bit of encouragement, Anthony.
Yeah, my wife will be horrified. She told me,
well,
she said, make sure you eat healthily.
Sorry.
So a voucher for a burger bar, just the thing, just the ticket. Yeah.
They might do low-calorie ones, Anthony.
I'm not sure there is such a thing. Here's Gregory in a bowls, and this is driven, but not timed, up to Tom Banton. Tom Haynes on 10, and Daniel Hughes on 5. Somerset asking questions, but just not finding the edge at the moment. Good LBW shout in Josh Davies' last over, which I think there must have been an inside edge involved, because it was mainly Davey who appealed for it. It wasn't quite the support from behind the stumps. Gregory round the wicket in and bowls, and gets Haynes in a spot of bother there. It comes back and hits him somewhere, not quite sure where. Maybe on the inside. Yeah, I think on the inside of his right thigh. Painful spot to be hit, and he's down on his haunches, just getting his breath back.
The fielder was in the way there, and I think the umpire Rob White signalled a no ball.
It wouldn't surprise me. He does tend to bowl no balls, does Lewis Gregory. He's one of the most prolific no ballers playing county cricket. Yeah.
And sometimes when you haven't bowled down the hill here.
Gregory in and bowls and beats him with an absolute beauty, and Haynes going for an aggressive shot in the offside, and that one bounced a little bit more from Lewis Gregory.
Just looks a little unsettled here, Tom Haynes, in these opening overs. Never easy opening the batting, particularly at this time of year against good new ball bowling. Just needs to work his way through this little tricky spell earlier on.
Somerset will feel that they've done enough to earn at least 1 wicket so far, but the wicket's column empty, and this is a full-length delivery, which is played firmly up to Miguel Pretorius. First time Miggy Pretorius has been in the game this morning. He's at mid-on. Slightly surprised that they're using Gregory to open the attack, but Gregory does swing the ball. Although it's not, we're just coming up to high tide, so under normal circumstances here at Hove, this would be ideal circumstances for a sea fret to come in. But no sign of a sea fret today, as this is driven handsomely away through the offside, over pitch from Gregory, and a fine swing of the bat from Tom Haynes with a lovely high follow through. And the ball reaches the extra cover boundary in the blink of an eye. 4 runs to Haynes. He moves on to 14-24 without loss.
Actually, you mentioned sea fret, the pre-season friendly here against Surrey after lunch. They were called off because of a sea fret.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah. I think a cold sea and the water, or whatever it is, whatever causes a fret.
Yeah. A hot sun and a cold sea. Yeah. Gregory then to Haynes. Oh, bowls him! That's the end of Tom Haynes. Clean bowled by Lewis Gregory. Well, after the Lord Mayor's show, a handsome cover drive, 1 ball. He's castled the very next, and Haynes has gone clean bowled by Gregory for 14-24 for 1, and just the breakthrough that Somerset were looking for.
Yeah, be disappointed, will Tom Haynes. So often with Tom, you see him playing a couple of cracking shots. The same happened up at Edgbaston last week. He hit 4 boundaries in his 17 before he was LBW to Ethan Bamber. But he just looked a little unsettled this morning. I think there's been some good bowling by Davey and by Gregory. And Tom Haynes has to go, but that's pretty comprehensive by Lewis Gregory, and brings out another of the Toms. Tom Clark, who made a very good 100 up at Edgbaston last week. It has to be said, on a pretty flat deck. Warwickshire bowling, with the exception of Ethan Bamber. I mean, it was a fine innings, don't get me wrong, and it was an excellent innings. But I think it'll be a little more of a test here this week. But here comes the left-handed Tom Clark. So just to say, the emails are up and running. SussexCricket@bbc.co.uk, and Anthony on Twitter is @AntGib.
Spot on.
Thank you.
Just looking at the replay of that, it didn't really do very much. He was bowling from wide of the crease, angling it in at the left-hander, and on the angle it went between bat and pad and crashed into the stumps.
Just to let the guys know who are operating the stream, that a couple of messages to say that the stream is very behind the commentary, so I know quite not why that is. And here at Hove, I say it a lot in commentary, there's not an army of people operating the stream here, so the guys here doing their best. And Isaac, who's new to the team, hello Isaac, great to welcome you to Hove. Will be doing his best to make sure you get the very best pictures.
Here's Gregory in and bowls and goes past Tom Clark's outside edge. Well, Tom Clark, who made 140 in the game up at Edgbaston. Nearly gone first ball, but he survives. End of that over, 24 for 1-5 to Daniel Hughes, and Tom Clark yet to score.
Les Woodburn has been in touch. He's also saying about the stream and the picture not quite being in sync at the minute, so thank you for letting us know. Les, who's up in North Yorkshire, where he says it's also gloriously sunny today. We'll be doing an update to the listeners on BBC Radio Sussex in the next few minutes. But meanwhile, Josh Davey with Sussex 24 for 1, coming into bowl to the left-handed Daniel Hughes, the Australian, who lets that go outside of the off stump, taken by James Rew, and there is no run. Daniel Hughes, who broke his elbow twice this winter, playing over in Australia, but happily seems okay now. And the advantage for Sussex over last season is that he's going to be here all season, which is good news. He went back before the penultimate match of the season against Gloucestershire. That's the match where Sussex were promoted. But he's going to be here all year this year, which is good news. From Sussex, in comes Davey, bowls, and Hughes drives. That's a lovely looking shot. Over pitch by Josh Davey, and Daniel Hughes very quick to dispatch that one through the covers for a lovely boundary. He goes to 9 and Sussex to 28 for 1.
Do you think it's a good idea to, I mean, Daniel Hughes, okay, he's a good cricketer, but he's a bit of an Australian journeyman, isn't he? Do you think it's a good idea? I mean, you could say the same about Pretorius for Somerset. You know, they're decent cricketers, but they're not exactly test stars, and they're coming into a side and taking the place of, you know, possibly a locally grown youngster.
Yeah, I mean, I think from a Sussex point of view, Anthony, there's so many young players in this side. They needed some older heads around them to... When Paul Farbrace came, his words were, it's a side they just don't know how to win. In comes Davey bowls, and he beats Hughes outside the off stump. Cracking delivery taken by James Rew. Good carry actually through to James Rew, who takes that round about his midriff. So they certainly did need one or two old heads, but I take your point, and the two that came in, Daniel Hughes and particularly John Simpson, who's been in tremendous form ever since he arrived. So I think they do need that level of experience around, and I think the likes of Daniel Hughes, John Simpson, Ollie Robinson, where he's playing today, are key to Sussex. Having those older heads around the younger players, because it's a step up. There's no question about that. From Div 2 to Division 1. Davey in again, bowls. Hughes shoulders, arms, taken down the leg side smartly by James Rew. There is no run.
Somerset have been in Division 1 longer than any other county. Came up at the end of 2007 and have been in Division 1 ever since. 6 times runners-up since 2010.
Wow. Could this be the year? Do you say that every year? Yeah.
We do say it every year.
But the great thing about Somerset...
I think if Matt Henry was here, this could have been the year, but he's not.
Yeah. Do you think he'll come? I mean...
I think he'll come, but probably only in time to play one county championship match and a handful of T20 blasts. He's got to be back by the end of June.
Davey in bowls. I'll give Hughes the benefit of the doubt there. Maybe at the last minute he pulled his bat inside the line. And it is a dot ball. Well, I think one thing where I was discussing this on the way down with this morning, one of the things I think a lot of counties look at Somerset, you do there's a lot of your own who are in the side.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is tremendous.
These are West Country boys, most of them. You know, there's a good, healthy smattering of Devonians amongst them, but yeah, it's predominantly a West Country side.
Yeah. And comes Davey, bowls, and Hughes with, well, he was looking to hammer that away through the covers. Whistle past the outside edge. I thought for a minute he got a little nick on that through to James Rue. He survives, but it's been a testing opening spell here by Josh Davey and Lewis Gregory. End of the 7th over here on a lovely sunny day here at Hove. And Sussex are 28 for 1. Hughes on 9. Clark is yet to score.
And I'll hand over to Nicky Chowdhury.
Thank you, Anthony. Lovely to see Anthony here at Hove. We only sort of fleetingly pass. Once a season, Somerset plays Sussex in T20, so it's really nice to have Anthony's company for a longer 4 days here at Hove. As I say, Sam Keir will be deputising for me on Sunday. Look forward to seeing Sam. As in comes Lewis Gregory around the wicket and bowls to Tom Clark, who gets his first run down to fine leg. It prompts an ooh and an ah from Lewis Gregory, but it's a single and Clark goes 2-1. Hello, Nikki.
Hello, Adrian. How are you?
Lovely to see you.
Likewise. What a beautiful day it is, isn't it? Down by the seaside, cricket, county championship is back.
It is. And I think you were at the Aegeus last week, weren't you?
I was at the Utility Bowl last week. I was there last night as well.
Right. What was on last night?
I'll tell you in a second. I think you have an update coming your way.
I do. As Lewis Gregory is back to his mark around the wicket, bowls, and again I'll give Daniel Hughes the benefit of the doubt there. I think he just pulled his bat inside the line at the last minute. 4 slips in place. There's a point mid-off, mid-on, mid-wicket, and a fine leg. Hughes comes down and does a little bit of gardening. Thank you, Sarah. Absolutely glorious day here at Hove. A big crowd, lots of blue sky. Sussex batting first here. They won the toss and elected to bat, but they've already lost a wicket, the wicket of Tom Haynes, who was comprehensively bowled by Lewis Gregory for 14. So we're in the 8th over of the morning here. Sussex are 29 for 1. Daniel Hughes on 9, Tom Clark on 1. Meanwhile, as you say, Surrey playing Hampshire at the Oval. Hampshire winning the toss, electing to field first. They've got an early breakthrough with Rory Burns out for 2 to the bowling of Brad Will. Ollie Pope is there. He is 12 not out. In comes Gregory around the wicket in and bowls, and again he beats Daniel Hughes outside of the off stump, taken by James Rue, and there is no run. So what were you up to last night down at the Utility Bowl? I'm sorry, I always know it as the Aegeus.
It's okay, I made the same mistake last week, so I've learned from it. So Melissa and I were actually kindly invited down by Hampshire to launch the women's squad for 2025 before the season gets underway with a live podcast. I'm sure you're aware that we both have a women's cricket podcast together.
In comes Gregory and bowls, and I think that was maybe bat on to pad. The ball bounces out to backward point, and there is no run.
So yeah, Melissa Story and I went down. We hosted the event introducing the squad with a Q&A, a live podcast show, and we were also very lucky that we got to announce the overseas signing for Hampshire women for the 2025 season with the GOAT that is Elise Perry.
Wow.
I know, that was exactly our reaction when they told us. We were like, wow, what a signing.
Gregory around the wicket, bowls, Daniel Hughes again, shoulders, arms. This has been a really good opening spell by Davey and Gregory. End of the over, Lewis Gregory, 4 overs, no maidens, 1 for 13. Sussex 29 for 1, Daniel Hughes on 9, Tom Clark on 1. The man out, Tom Haynes, who was bowled by Lewis Gregory for 14. Sussex winning the toss and electing to bat first here on BBC Radio Sussex, BBC Somerset. Myself, Adrian Harms, alongside Nicky Chowdhury and Anthony Gibson, the third member of our commentary team.
Yeah, so that's where we were last night, and that was extremely exciting. And then down by the coast here today, and of course it's always back. It's always lovely being back here, especially with you, Adrian. It's
that's
something that we look forward to when you get assigned. You've got a match down at Hove.
So you saw you saw Hampshire against Yorkshire last week.
It was Hampshire against Yorkshire. Here's Davy from the C end, runs away from us now to Clark, who plays this one fine down towards fine leg, and that should go all the way. It does. Just gets a tickle on it. Bit of pace on that one, and Tom Clark gets a boundary. Score moves on to 33 for 1.
Now that's the sound of summer. Could you hear that bee in RFX microphone?
I would.
Don't normally get bees this early in April, but that's definitely a bee. Well, it could be a wasp, I guess, but there's something buzzing in our effects microphone.
It did startle me a little bit. I thought it was around me, and then I realised it's just coming off the headset. Now, on this one. Oh, beautiful delivery. It's a play and a miss by Tom Clark.
Well, already I would say that there's a little more in this pitch here at Hove than there was up at Edgbaston last week. I know Sussex were in trouble in that game at 40 for 3, but the pitch did flatten out. And here at Hove, they're good wickets. They give the bowlers a chance. They're good to bat on as well. But Paul Farbrace is always very keen. There's a little bit of grass that gives a bit of help to the bowlers, and it brings the slip cordon into place as well. So there's been early encouragement here for the Somerset opening attack.
It has indeed, as Davy runs away from us now. Clark off the front foot decides to let this one go through to Rue with the gloves. It's interesting about the wickets though, just because it's been so dry. I can't remember when the last summer that started with such good weather. Normally you're in jackets and layers and got hand warmers as well. It seems like late May.
Well, I can remember the COVID spring when we were all shut indoors for weeks on end. It was like this then, wasn't it? I mean, I remember looking out the window every day thinking, we should be playing cricket. And we were stuck inside watching, well, whatever we were watching or doing whatever we were doing.
Davy in. Round the wicket to Tom Clark, who's forward and plays this to mid-wicket, no run. No, of course, that year we went into lockdown 2020. I remember the weather was absolutely incredible. I was revising for my university exams and I was just outside all the time thinking, this is really not the sort of weather you want to be doing this in. It is cricket weather, but unfortunately it wasn't to be that year.
Which university was that?
I went to Royal Holloway.
Okay, in Egham?
In Egham, yes. I studied economics, and 2020 was actually the year I graduated, so I did all my final exams from home as in runs Davy again to Clark, who's forward, and this one catches the toe end of the bat as it's fielded at short extra cover.
They've got that wonderful sort of facade, haven't they, to the building at Royal Holloway University at the front of it. I mean, it's a very old university, and it's got it's very picturesque, the front of it.
It's so pretty. Everyone says it looks like Hogwarts, but I'm not a Harry Potter person, so I had to check. But it does look like Hogwarts, and it's a beautiful campus. It's lovely, and it's got it's kept its original features as well as Davies into Clark, who's forward and lunges into a defence. It's picked up at short extra once again, and that will conclude the over. Sussex is 33 for 1 at the end of 9 overs. Clark with 5, Hughes with 9.
So just a reminder, there is a book sale over by the Sussex Cricket Museum. I can see the volunteers over there today with all sorts of books and no doubt photographs as well. There is a quiz over there as well, so if you fancy having a little wander around, there is a Somerset v Sussex quiz sheet you can take and ponder over as you're watching the cricket. Also, just to say, if you're listening and you want to come to Hove on Sunday, it is free admittance for anybody coming to the ground on Sunday, as in comes Lewis Gregory down the hill from the Cromwell Road end, bowls to Daniel Hughes, who's, do you know, I completely lost track of where the ball there. Did that fly to second slip? Did it? Thank you. He's just rubbing his arm. Let's hope he's okay. There's a bit of concern from his teammates. Did he hit him on the full, Anthony, or do you think it was on the bounce? Difficult to tell. Certainly there were no arms in the air. But yeah, he's okay, which is the good news. Yeah, so to get your free ticket, you have to go online and click on the link, and then you can get your free ticket for Sunday. As in comes Gregory round the wicket, bowls, and back and across is Daniel Hughes. He very obligingly picks up the ball and then throws it to the field who was running towards him. who didn't see it coming, and the ball just dropped to the floor, but there is no run. I'm going to pick up on something that Anthony said a little earlier on, actually, about toms in the game, because there are 6 toms in this game, and I've had an email in. It doesn't put his name on it, but I will tell you what it says in a moment.
It would be funny if his name's Tom as well.
Yeah. In comes Gregory Bowles. Hughes is beaten for the umpteenth time this morning. This has been a really good opening spell by Gregory and David, asking lots of questions of these Sussex openers, who will be pleased to see the back of these two. 33 for 1. So he signs it off deep back, wood and square. So thank you, whoever you are, sir, for getting in touch. He says this is the 3rd game in county championship history to feature 6 Thomases. Previous ones featured post World War II Essex v Kent at Colchester 1946 and Gloucestershire at Cheltenham in 1949. There we go. Whoever knew. In comes Gregory Bowles to Hughes, who's forward on the onside, no run. He says, however, several of the Thomases were more commonly known by other names, including Thomas Godfrey Evans and Thomas Dicky Dodds. The record for any name is 8 Johns in the game between Middlesex and Gloucestershire at Lord's in 1894. So I don't think we could name any of the Johns in that game. That's a bit even before me and Anthony's time, I think. But what a fascinating email. Thank you so much for getting in touch. As in comes Gregory Bowles to Hughes, who's wrapped on the thigh pad. The ball bounces out in front of him, and there is no run. Graham Barber's been in touch, and he says, good morning, Adrian. Is the commentary available via the BBC website this year? Only seem to be able to get ball by ball on Radio 5 Sports Extra. No, it is available. You go to the cricket page and you page down or page across live. Right. So you go across to watch and listen. Graham, I should know that really. Gregory Bowles let go outside the off stump by Daniel Hughes. So watch and listen. So go to have a little look through, and but yes, all the commentaries are there. There's a new BBC deal that was announced just before the season started for county cricket commentary for the next 4 years here on the BBC. 4 years to put up with Anthony, myself, and Nikki. 33 for 1. Hughes on 9, Clark on 5.
Yeah, and I believe if you have a smart speaker as well,
yes, you do. Very good.
Ask your smart speaker to say, play Sussex versus Somerset, and
that's it. You say play Sussex v Somerset day 1. You have to get
very precise.
You have to get the day right, and so yes, it is available, Graham.
Here's Davey, shirt number 38 printed on his back as he runs away from us, round the wicket to Tom Clark, who's forward and lets this one go through to Rue with the gloves. So have you wintered, Adrian? What have you been up to? How's your winter been?
My winter's been very good. Perhaps most noticeable that I'm now a granddad.
Oh, congratulations! Yeah,
which is very exciting. So that's wonderful. And I went away for a couple of trips. That was nice. But I always look forward to the spring. I can't. You really look forward to this day, to the first day at Hove.
It is a good time of the year. Especially when conditions are like this. Well, why not? Davey in past the umpire now. Clark forward, a bit of movement off the surface, and Clark drops his hands as that goes through to Rue.
Just to say, Les has been back in touch. There's a quick update, all now good, thanks to the techie for his effort. So well done, Isaac, who's operating the stream for the first time today, a new member of the Sussex media team. So you've got a big tick in the box, Isaac, from Les. So thank you for your work. So the stream and the commentary is in sync, which is great news. Yes, I was very lucky, Nikki. For the first time ever in my life, I went to a safari.
Oh, where did you go?
I went to South Africa.
Oh.
And it was wonderful, thoroughly enjoyable.
Davey, and again to Clark, who's forward, and this time this closes the bat and plays it to short mid-wicket. It's fielded instantly. No run. I've never been on a safari,
It was very exciting, but it's a little stressful. Well, it's quite tiring as well because you have to get up very early. So there were 2 drives a day. One starts at 5 in the morning, so you have to be up at sort of 3:30, and then there's one in the evening as well. But you would come back after the drive, and someone at breakfast would say, "Oh, we saw a lion." You haven't seen anything. I want to see a lion. So, but it was wonderful.
Davey into Clark. Short ball pulled away. Shouldn't go all the way. Oh, it does go all the way. Fine leg. Doesn't get round. There's a bit of a freebie there. And the score moves on to 37-1.
And Miles has been in touch. He says thank you to Isaac as well. So there we are, Isaac. 2 ticks in the box on your first day. That's well done to you.
It must be quite frustrating though if you've gone on a safari and you want to see a lion, a leopard, and you're waking up at 4:30 every day and you don't get to. It must be quite frustrating.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we were very lucky.
4 slips in place as Davies into Clark now. Fuller deliveries forward, drops it into the offside. We'll take on the single as Point comes in to do the fielding. 38-1.
Been impressed by this Somerset attack this morning. I think they've made both Hughes and Clark play, and indeed Tom Haynes when he was there. Somerset bowling first. There's just a little bit in the pitch for the Seamers, Nikki.
Just a little bit. It just goes back to what you mentioned. Just a little bit of grass left in the pitch, and it's just helping the Somerset fielders a tad this morning. 4 slips in place for Hughes. Goes forward and drives beautifully down the ground. No one at mid-off, and that's going to go all the way down towards the boundary. Over pitch delivery there from Davey. And Sussex move on to 42-1 at the end of the over. 11 overs gone. Hughes on 13, Tom Clark with 10 to his name.
Lovely shot, wasn't it, by Daniel Hughes, straight down the ground. I guess that shows the value of an experienced player. He's had to work very hard this morning, Daniel Hughes. He's been beaten outside the off stump on a number of occasions, but the experienced head waits for the delivery to hit, and very important for Sussex's Daniel Hughes this season. Great question from my good friend Julian, sitting up there on the top deck of the Spen Karma, who says, good morning, lovely to be back at Hove. A strange question as the sky is blue and the sun is out. What is the situation regarding the use of the floodlights in the county championship this season, says Julian. Well, I do know the answer to that, as Lewis Gregory is going to come in for his 6th over the morning. 1 maiden figures of 1 for 13. He's into bowl to Tom Clark, who shoulders arms extravagantly. Gloves bat high out of the way, the ball goes through to James Rue, and there is no run. The answer is that they are going to use floodlights this season, Julian. Down here at Hove last year they didn't, but I was told last week that floodlights will be used when necessary in the county championship this season. So it was an experiment last year. There were various reasons behind it, but this year there will be floodlights, I'm reliably informed. As in comes Gregory, right arm around the wicket, the bowls to Tom Clark, who plays that down to fine leg. It just prompted Lewis Gregory, a little howl from Gregory, and he's got his hands on his head. But Clark picks up another single. He goes to 11, and the total to 43 for 1. So that's the situation regarding floodlights, which we're hoping. I'll be amazed today if we need them. They did come on at Edgbaston last week, which was a strange one, but they did come on last week. As Gregory again in and bowls, and Hughes is right in behind that, plays that to backward point. There is no run. If you want to get in touch with us, please do so. Sussex Cricket at bbc.co.uk. You can tweet at @AdGib. Be lovely to hear from you throughout the day, whether you're watching the live stream, whether you're in the ground, whether you're listening via the BBC website. And I know we do get listeners. We had listeners all over the place last week, all around the world. So get in touch and let us know where you're listening to County Championship cricket from. And as I say, a new contract for the next 4 years of county cricket on the BBC, as Gregory is in bowls and he beats Hughes again. And that's not the first time today. Daniel Hughes beaten, he remains on 13, and Sussex 45 for 1. And despite having won the toss here this morning and batting first, I think Sussex will be quite pleased to have just lost the 1 wicket in this opening hour, because I think Somerset have bowled really well, Nikki.
Yeah, Somerset have bowled really well. It's unfortunate for Tom Haynes to get dismissed as he did, but these two are going well. Hughes and Clark out there in the middle. 45 for 1.
Gregory in again and bowls. He beats Daniel Hughes, all ends up again outside of the off stump. He can't quite believe it, Lewis Gregory. And apologies, I missed a no ball earlier on in that over, and previously I missed a no ball as well, or when we were commentating with Anthony. Total 45 for 1. Elsewhere in the county championship, Durham at home to Warwickshire in this round of matches. Durham winning the toss and electing to bat first. They are 45 for 1. Unusually, Alex Lee's out for a duck. In fact, Durham were 0 for 1 at one stage. Gregory bowls to Hughes. It's another no ball. Played firmly to point. Thank you, Sean Dixon, number 58 on his back. Sean Dixon, thank you, Anthony. Very difficult up at Edgbaston last week because none of the Warwickshire fielders had their numbers on the backs of their jumpers, so it was difficult to see who was fielding the ball. At Trent Bridge, Nottinghamshire 21 for 2 against Essex. No surprise, 2 wickets there for Jamie Porter. Essex winning the toss there and deciding to field first. Gregory in again, bowls. Daniel Hughes takes a step down the pitch and then lets it go through to James Rowe, and there is no one. Hampshire also winning the toss and asking Surrey to bat first at the Oval. Surrey 51 for 2. Ollie Pope and Rory Burns the men out. Dominic Sibley on 15. Jamie Smith is on 12. And the final game in Division 1 in this round of matches, Yorkshire at home to Worcestershire. Worcestershire winning the toss and deciding to field. Yorkshire off to a good start, 54 without loss. Gregory in bowls, and he hits Hughes, I think, on the hand, because Daniel Hughes rings his left hand, or maybe around the wrist area. Good over from Lewis Gregory, despite the fact that there were a couple of no balls in the over. 6 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 18. The score 47 for 1. Hughes on 13. Clark on 11 here on BBC Radio Sussex, BBC Somerset. Adrian Harms, Nicky Chowdhury and Anthony Gibson, your commentary team. Just to give you the scores in Division 2 of the county. How nice it is to get the season starting. We've got play in every game. So in the second division, Gloucestershire 38 without loss against Glamorgan at Bristol. Middlesex 34 for 2 at Canterbury against Kent. Northants 42 for 1 at Old Trafford against Lancashire. And Leicestershire 49 for 1 against Derbyshire. Leicestershire and Derbyshire both winning their opening round of matches. Got a change of bowling, and it's going to be Casey Aldridge who's going to come into the Somerset attack from the C end of the ground, bowling up the slope.
He's got shirt number 5 printed on his back as he's into Tom Clark now. Shorter delivery, and that's down the leg side, taken by Rue. Clark attempts to pull and then decides he's just going to back out of that one. But back to the question, did you see a lion?
I did.
You did see a lion?
I did.
Was it on the last day? Did it make it all seem so much more worth it?
I saw a lion and a lioness and some cubs, so we were very, very lucky.
Oh, wow. 4 slips, backward point, extra cover. As in comes Aldridge now on this one, just played to short mid-wicket by Clark. Off the front foot.
Good early spell, wasn't that, from Josh Davey? That's a little unfortunate not to pick up a wicket. So Sussex will be glad to see the back of him for the time being.
Yeah, they will. He's just getting a little bit of help off the surface. As here's Casey Aldridge. Past the umpire, right arm round the wicket to Tom Clark. Fuller delivery. Clark drives, miscues, but it's going to go towards mid-off where there's no fielder. And they should come back for 2. And they do comfortably. Tom Banton with the chase. Sussex move on to 49 for 1, and it's a decent crowd in, actually, Adrian, for the first home game of the season.
Yeah, and it should be, really, shouldn't it? You know, it's a lovely sunny day. Everyone's sort of a pretty miserable winter, wasn't it? Cold and damp and horrible. So it's great to see some sunshine.
Aldridge in again, and Fuller delivery this time. This is played down towards fine leg by Clark. And that will bring up the 50 on the board for Sussex, and that's a round of applause from the fans and spectators around the ground that you can hear on the effects mic as well. Clark on 14.
Yeah, Josh Davey, 6 overs, 0 for 28, but I think he bowled a little better than that, to be fair.
Yeah, sometimes the stats just don't give you
Yeah,
the full vision. As here's Casey Aldridge into Hughes, who shuffles across and drives down the ground once again. It's going to go all the way. Over pitch delivery from Aldridge. Sussex move on to 54 for 1.
Nice shot, didn't quite time it, did he? But nonetheless, once the ball gets past the infield at Hove, it's very, very difficult to stop it, and particularly it's been so dry that the outfield's fast for early April. You'll have to tell us what you were up to. Did you get to sunnier climes, Nikki?
I'm lucky to say I was actually barely here for winter.
Oh.
So I feel like winter never actually happened.
You're lucky.
As in runs Aldridge now to Hughes, and this one slightly straighter line, played off the hips down towards long leg. And there'll be a single there. So I was lucky enough to be in the UAE. I was over in India, just got back from India a couple of weeks ago as well, where I was commentating and presenting on a few leagues out there. I was working out in Abu Dhabi on that on the T10 franchise tournament that happens in November. So I've been in warmer climates where the average temperature's been around 32 degrees. So
Okay, that's enough.
is that enough? I can continue if you want.
No, it's all right. That's fine. Yeah, I mean, because here, I don't know what it was like down in the West Country. Anthony will probably tell us, but January and February were miserable. We barely saw the sun for weeks on end. In comes Lewis Gregory, who's carrying on from the Cromwell Road end and picks up I think that's a single. I don't think it came off the pad. Let's wait for the umpire's signal. No, it did come off of Daniel Hughes' bat. He goes to 17, 55 for 1. When you watch those tournaments in places like the UAE, do many people watch? Inside the ground, I mean, I don't mean online or wherever. Do the locals come and watch?
The locals do come and watch. There's a decent amount of spectators that do come and watch. Even in India, I was working on, you must have seen, there's quite a few of these legend leagues popping up now where...
Here comes Gregory, bowls, and Clark pushes firmly into the offside and picks up a single. Sean Dixon races back from cover to field, but not before Clark goes through to another single. He goes to 15, total 57 for 1.
Where a lot of ex-internationals are coming back and getting another shot at the game and probably maybe earning more money than they did in their entire career now. But I was working on a league where the likes of Ross Taylor, Martin Guptill, Shikhar Dhawan were playing. This was in February, so
so presumably there's a lot of broadcasting money behind that.
Yes.
To make it pay.
Yes, a fair amount.
Gregory in bowls, and it's another no ball from Lewis Gregory. The ball goes through to James Rue. That's at least the 4th no ball that Lewis Gregory has bowled this morning. Total goes up by 2 to 59 for 1.
So yeah, out there doing a fair bit of broadcast work on the comms and presenting as well, so hosting post-match presentations and flash dugout interviews and all of that sort of stuff where you've got 20 people talking into your ear. Feels like 20.
Here comes Gregory round the wicket, bowls, and forward comes Hughes, plays to mid-wicket. And there is no run. I mean, I have to say that during the winter months here, we're consumed pretty much on the radio station with football, which is, of course, you'd expect during the winter months, and I have to say I'd lose a bit of track, to be honest, of all these leagues that are going on all around the world. I mean, it's quite difficult to keep abreast of it all, really.
Oh, it is.
Unless if you're a cricket fanatic, and we're all cricket fans, of course. As Gregory is in bowls, and Hughes drives beautifully on the front foot. That's a lovely shot. 3 extra cover for 4 runs. Just took a pace down the track and drilled it away for another boundary. Daniel Hughes goes to 22 and Sussex to 63 for 1.
A beautiful drive there from Hughes, and just goes to show how good this surface is as well as he leans into it. Lovely shot. Yeah, there's a lot of leagues popping up though, I must admit. It is hard to keep a track of what's going on.
Ian Carter has been in touch. Hello Ian, thank you for getting in touch. Just about the live stream, as comes Gregory again. Hughes lets that one go outside the off stump, taken by Rue. Good carry through to James Rue, and there is no run. I think you're saying that you are saying the sound is out of sync with the picture. I mean, just to say, Ian, just for your information, we're in 2 separate parts of the ground here. So It's just a case of getting the picture. So we will do our best to get it sorted out, and I'm sure the guys in the technical team are doing their best. So, but thank you very much for your email, sussexcricket@bbc.co.uk. As Lewis Gregory is in again. Bowls. Oh, Hughes wrapped on the pad. There's a stifled appeal. The ball dribbles out onto the offside. There is no run. So it's the end of the over and the end of me for half an hour. Sussex 63 for 1. Daniel Hughes is on 22. Tom Clark is on 15. The man out, Tom Haynes, who was bowled by Lewis Gregory for 14. So to pick up commentary for the next half an hour, it's going to be Nicky Chowdhury with Anthony Gibson.
Thank you, Adrian. Yeah, Somerset not enjoying much luck so far this morning, I think it'd be fair to say. Here comes Casey Aldridge. He's in bowls, and this is down the leg side, a long way down the leg side, and Tom Clark goes for the pull shot and makes no contact. Casey Aldridge, fresh from taking 5 for 36 in the first innings against Worcestershire, when he bowled by his own account his best bowling in the county championship. His best figures are 6 for 110 against Kent a couple of years ago, but he bowled much better against Worcestershire. He's in bowls, and this is again his down the leg side. He was too much down the leg side in his first over as well. Somerset without Craig Overton. Still haven't found out, for those of you who've been asking on Twitter, why isn't Craig Overton playing? I don't know is the answer. But he was wandering around the outfield earlier on. He was playing football with the rest of them this morning, so if he is injured, it's a minor injury. As Aldridge is in and bowls, it's a better delivery, met with a defensive bat by Tom Clark.
Sometimes they're just precautionate rests, aren't they? Just in case you feel a little bit of a niggle or whatever it may be.
He's got a history of tendinitis, Craig Overton, so whether he's had a recurrence of that, or whether it's just Somerset do have a policy of rotating their quicker bowlers, but he's the leader of the attack, Craig Overton. It looks significantly weakened without him. Aldridge in and bowls. This is driven nicely away through the offside. That'll go for 4 runs. Jack Leach going in pursuit, but no chance of overhauling that. Over pitch from Casey Aldridge. It's been a rather ragged spell from him so far. At the start of last season, he bowled very well against Surrey at the Oval, and then was rotated out of the side for the game against Kidderminster, which you will remember with a lot of affection, Nicky. It was rather cold.
Oh!
This is a defensive shot. Back up the pitch.
Sending shivers down my spine just remembering that day. It was rather cold. I thought I was in the Antarctic. It was... I don't even have a word. I've never felt that cold in my life, ever.
It was we were in a tent at Kidderminster, and it was absolutely freezing cold, and the wind was blowing right into our commentary tent. Aldridge in bowls, and this is cut away, and a good half stop in the covers by Archie Vaughan, flinging himself to his right, saved his side 3 runs there. I think that would have gone to the boundary if he hadn't made that stop. As it is, it's just a single. It's 68 for 1, 20 to Clark and 22 to Daniel Hughes.
I still remember the worst part of that was that neither of you warned me that we were going to be sat outside in a tent. So I've driven up all the way to Worcestershire without having packed many layers.
Well, you must have been wearing at least 4 layers, I think.
Well, the kind people at Kidderminster Cricket Club, they came around with blankets and different layers for me. So if that wasn't to have happened, I probably would have been a frozen statue and still be at Kidderminster today. But it was
very bleak. Very bleak.
There's a photo, I think, on Twitter.
Right,
as well. Miguel
Pretorius for the first time. In from the Cromwell Road end. He's there and oh, sorry, it's your over, Nicky. I beg your pardon. It's played square of the wicket for 4 runs, short and wide from Pretorius, and I'll hand over to Nicky Chowdhury for the rest of this over.
It's all right. Sussex move on to 72 for 1. After that one, Miguel Pretorius coming into the attack for the first time this morning. here on day one of Sussex's first home encounter in Div 1 of the County Championship for the 2025 season, and it's a delightful crowd to see in, as Pretorius has 3 slips in place for the left-handed Clark. He's round the wicket to Clark, who's forward, and this one rolls to point. No run. Yes, it was a very, very cold day, but nothing like that today. Not a cloud in sight, blue, clear skies down by Sussex, by the sea. Seagulls flying, looking for their lunch. And Pretorius at the top of his mark from the Cromwell Road end runs in towards us now as Clark is forward and lets this one go through to Rue with the gloves. And follows the ball with the leave.
Yeah, he's bowling lively, fast medium is Miguel Pretorius. He's a decent domestic season in South Africa. On the fringes of the South African one-day international squad.
It's in again, round the wicket, passes the umpire now, and Clark forward, driven, square drives beautifully, and that's going to go all the way towards the members' enclosure. And he comes down and does a little bit of gardening. Sussex move on to 76 for 1. Tom Clark on 28.
Yeah, over pitch from Pretorius. It'll be the first time he's bowled here at Hove. And that's 50 partnership between Hughes and Clark, so he's got to get used to running down the hill.
Pretorius in again now, and oh, there's raps. Tom Clark on the pads as a shout, not convincing enough.
Must have been I haven't seen the replay yet, but judging by the vociferous appeal, must have been close.
Seems so. We'll have to watch it back on the replay once that's ready for us. Just having a look.
Just outside the off stump, I think, playing a shot.
We're not in the best position right now from where we are sat in the commentary box either, as in comes Pretorius to Clark. On the rise, just plays it to point, and that will conclude the end of the 16th over. Sussex 76 for 1. He's on 22. Tom Clark with 28 to his name.
Yep, and Casey Aldridge is going to bowl another over. It must take a bit of getting used to coming down the hill.
Must do, and that's potentially why Lewis Gregory could have been bowling those no balls.
Well, he does have a tendency to bowl no balls.
And then when you're going downhill, it doesn't help your case either, does it?
No, he's always pushing the line, as they say. Gets close to it. Here's Aldridge then from the sea end, bowling to left-handed Daniel Hughes, who drives into the covers, and Archie Vaughan doesn't make the stop this time, and Tom Banton will retrieve the ball just inside the boundary down to our right at Cow Corner, and they'll come back for 3 comfortable runs. Score moving on to 79 for 1. Hughes on to 25 runs, coming rather too easily at the moment for Sussex for Somerset's comfort.
First time I've actually seen the ball just slow down on the outfield. Adrian and I were discussing that. Once it beats the imaginary inner circle, the ball's normally on its way.
Aldridge again, he's in past to Clark on leg stump, turned into the onside. Sean Dixon quickly across from mid-wicket to do the fielding. Yeah, the outfield looks an absolute picture, but
it looks beautiful.
This time of year, it won't be lightning fast.
It sounds silly, but it's just the lines, the way they're just so precisely cut.
Yeah. Aldridge bowls down the leg side and flicked down to the fine leg boundary for 4 runs. Nothing that Pretorius can do about that. Another loose delivery from Aldridge. This is, well, he is a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde. bowler is Casey Aldridge. When he's good, he's very, very good, and when he's bad, he's not so good. And you would have seen him last year at Kidderminster, Nicky, when he was. I think he was trying to bowl too fast. And he was very expensive. He's in there bowling over the wicket, and again in the leg side, and again it's 4 runs. That's a leg stump half volley, which is dispatched by Tom Clark, who moves on to 36 from just 35 deliveries, 87 for 1. This is not good from Casey Aldridge. He's conceded 23 runs now from 16 deliveries.
That's not exactly the line or the length you want to be bowling, especially when you've got the short leg side boundary there.
Yes, it is quite short on that side. Aldridge in and bowls, and down the leg side again. This time Clark misses out, trying to help that around down to fine leg. Pretorius is in front of the players' pavilion at long leg. The 3 slips. Almost sense the frustration amongst the Somerset fielders at the moment as Aldridge is in and bowls, and this is a good one. Well, if the rest of that over was Dr. Jekyll, that one was definitely Mr. Hyde from Casey Aldridge, going past the outside edge, but no joy. 87 for 1 at the end of that over, and Aldridge has gone for 23 runs in 3 overs.
That was a good ball to finish the over as well. That's the angle he wants to find. Just found it on the last ball. Decided to stay over the wicket this time against a left-hander as well. How was your winter, Anthony? Did you winter well?
It was quiet. It was quiet. As Adrian was saying, the weather was dreadful. It was either pouring with rain through October and November and December, or cold and bleak and foggy. We hardly saw the sun at all in January. And the Somerset levels where we live, I think we have more floods this winter than any other winter since 2014. It didn't last very long, and it's very picturesque, but it's just a bit grim.
Change in bowling from the Cromwell Road, and Josh Davey comes in and changes ends as he's in this time, and this is cut, and it's brilliantly fielded at point. No run.
Sean Dixon.
Brilliant dive. Hughes on strike, he's on 25. Josh Davey was bowling from the C end earlier.
I've heard from Mark Overton, Craig's dad, said Craig being rested, no injuries, no other reasons, management decision. I hope it doesn't come back to bite Somerset, that's all I can say.
Here's Davey in, right arm round the wicket to Hughes, who's forward and drops it into the leg side. He looks to set off for a single, but mid-wicket is quick into field that one.
Thank you, Mark. It was Craig Overton's birthday yesterday, and indeed it was Jamie Overton's birthday yesterday as well. And the pair of them celebrating their 32nd birthdays.
Davey making his way to the top of his mark. Turns and starts to steam downhill towards Hughes again. Oh, beautiful delivery. There's a shout. They think they've wrapped him on the pads, but there is no interest there from the umpire. I'll have to watch that again on the replay. Anthony Gibbs has got the screen in front of him.
The live stream's having a bit of a moment at the moment.
Having a bit of a moment.
May take some time for us to see the replay. I think that might have been a bit high.
I'll let it have its moment as in comes Davey once again, who shuffles across onto off stump and plays and misses as it's taken by Rue. A little bit of a looser
Good shout.
Shot choice there from Daniel Hughes. And now he just shadows a more correct form. 3 slips, a backward point, extra cover, mid-off, mid-on, mid-wicket. and a long leg in place. As here comes Josh Davey down the hill. Hughes forward, and this one's beautifully flicked away. It's gonna not go all the way down towards mid-on. Mid-on is on the chase. They'll come back for 2. Just timed it. I wouldn't say that came off the middle of the bat either, probably more toe end. But they'll still get a couple of runs. 89 for 1 Sussex. He's on 27 now. Just be careful not to overpitch it as he's in again past the umpire. Down the leg side, this is taken by Rue, and that will conclude the end of the 18th over. Sussex 89 for 1. Daniel Hughes with 27, Tom Clark with 36 to his name.
On Twitter, Peter Cullen says, I'm currently bedbound with stage 4 cancer, so your service is a godsend to me. Thanks for the great job you all do. P.S. Where is Tractor? Well, it's a very good question, Peter. I can't actually see him at the moment, and I haven't heard him yet, but he usually comes into full voice during the afternoon and evening sessions, and I'm very sorry to hear about your illness. All the very best from all of us for the future. Andy Cleve says, I'm sure this has been mentioned before, but Lewis Gregory must be the biggest no-ball offender in county cricket. Anyone confirm this? Yep. I haven't got the stats with me, Andy, but Steve Pittard did some stats a couple of seasons ago as Pretorius is coming in from the CN. This is driven away through the offside for 4 runs. And some loose bowling from Somerset. They haven't enjoyed the best of luck in the matter of playing and missing. Lewis Gregory bowled a really lovely opening spell, but Pretorius has been expensive and Aldridge has been expensive and Davies been unlucky, so Sussex have moved very comfortably on to 93 for 1 now. Clark has 40 to his name from just 38 deliveries. Daniel Hughes 27. Pretorius in bowls. That's a better ball, left alone by Tom Clark. Yeah, going back to Lewis Gregory and his no balls. A couple of seasons ago, I think he was bowling a no ball roughly every 30 deliveries. He was better last year, but he's bowled a few this year, and it's because he's trying to pitch the ball up and give it every chance to swing, and he does push that line and sometimes pushes it too hard. Pretorius in bowls, and it's a good length ball which is played firmly up to Tom Abel, who's come out of the slip cordon, is at mid-off. Lovely scene here at the county ground, isn't it, Nikki?
It is.
The first central county ground, we ought to give it its full name. With some, what colour? Turquoise, I suppose, the sort of
I do like the
predominant colour here.
It's a nice bright turquoise.
Pretorius in and bowls outside the off stump. Clark shoulders arms. Spectators sitting in sun hats, shirt sleeves and shorts and summer dresses. It's a really lovely, colourful scene. Cricket in April at its very best.
Who would have thought, eh? Floppy hats are out, sunscreen is being squirted in April. It's not a common practice. We'll take what we get, because I actually don't think the warm weather's meant to stay around for too long.
Here's Pretorius in bowls. Again, it's outside the off stump. Better length. Good carry through to James Rue. But how many overs have we had? We're in the 19th over, so there's still plenty of hardness and shine to the ball. Priority really for the quick bowlers is to make the batsman play and try and build some pressure, which they haven't managed to do just yet. Pretorius in bowls, and this is a much better ball. Cuts back in from outside the off stump and has Tom Clark in a certain amount of difficulty, but he survives And it's the end of the over, end of the 19th over. 93 for 1, 27 to Daniel Hughes and 40 to Tom Clark, and just the one wicket so far, which was that of Tom Haynes, who was clean bowled by Lewis Gregory.
The sun is shining, highs of 15 today, but I think next week there's a bit of rain and temperature drops down.
It's not too bad. It's just
13.
More normal.
More normal expected April temperatures.
April showers.
We've been spoilt so far early on, as here's Josh Davey from the Cromwell Road end, runs in towards Hughes, who's forward, and this ball just takes a little bit of height as it drops into the offside.
It's just hit Hughes on his left hand. I think he's in a certain amount of pain as he wanders away towards the square leg umpire.
Yeah, it's come off his glove as he defends that. Just took a bit of height and couldn't go with the bat.
There is a little bit of bounce in this pitch. It's a good lively cricket wicket.
It is. Hughes taps his bats as he awaits Davey in, and a little bit of movement just squares Hughes up a little bit as that's blocked off into the leg side, and mid-wicket comes into field.
Just going back to Craig Overton, Dan Kingdom says, I'm guessing Craig missing out is a preemptive rest. It is. We probably want him to play all of the next 3 games, so we decided to rest him for this one to keep him fresh. I think that's probably spot on. Now the next 3 games for Somerset being Hampshire at Southampton, Surrey at the Oval, and then Essex back at Taunton. So 3 really big games for Somerset.
Davey in now, and Hughes respectfully defends. The ball drops perhaps 3 meters away from him. Davey has to come in and collect that one. 93 for 1, Sussex, and it's not even a breeze down here at the ground. The flags are as limp as anything. Davey makes his way to the top of his mark, turns full circle as he's down the hill once again to Hughes, who's forward, this time ducks.
Don't often see Josh Davey bowling a bouncer. That wasn't a bad one.
No, he made his intent to go forward, and then once he spotted that short delivery, he decides to duck underneath. Goes to do a little bit of gardening in the middle of the wicket. Slipcorden having a little bit of a discussion as well. As Davey gets the ball, gives it a shine, and is ready to make his way in towards Hughes. He's on 27. Shuffles onto the off stump, and there's a shout here. Has this trapped them? Davey on his knees, pleading. Again, I think this might just be outside the line. It's just the angle he's coming in from. But we'll have to look again on replay. Once replay can load. We've got it now.
Right, outside the off stump. Probably would have hit the stumps, but it's not much of a consolation.
Davey in, Hughes shuffles back and across, and this one just takes a little bit of height again.
Good over again from Josh Davey. Another good appeal. He also hit Hughes on quite a painful blow, judging by his response on the left glove. And it was a maiden over. It was Josh Davies' first maiden over. He's bowled 8 overs, 1 maiden, none for 30. Lewis Gregory has bowled a good spell. He bowled his 7 overs, 1 for 26. But Aldridge expensive, 3 overs for 23, and Pretorius 3 overs for 12. He's going to bowl the next over from the C end to Tom Clark. He's there and bowls, and this is played out into the offside, where Tom Abel Fields. Three slips, backward point, extra cover, mid-off, mid-on, mid-wicket, and the one man out is Pretorius down at long leg. Somerset pressing for another breakthrough. Pretorius in and bowls. This is driven, not timed, and Archie Vaughan will cut it off from mid-off, but they're able to take a single. Clark on to 41, score on to 94 for 1. Elsewhere,
lots of cricket being played up and down the country. No game has been off for poor weather.
Pretorius to Hughes outside the off-stump. No shot. Elsewhere, Durham 74 for 1 against Warwickshire. Not 64 for 3 against Essex. Josh Tongue has been rested by order of the ECB for that game, which hasn't gone down terribly well. It's not, as he hardly bowled at all last season because he was injured. And he effectively won the game for Notts in the last game. Here's Pretorius in and bowls outside the off stump. He's just not got his line right at the moment. Surrey 96 for 3 against Hampshire at the Oval. Sibley is still there, 25 from 55. Sounds like a pretty typical Dom Sibley innings. But Jamie Smith is out for 39 from 35 deliveries. Jamie Smith batting quite high up for Surrey, because obviously with folks with the gloves. This is driven, and this time is timed. That will go for 4. Archie Vaughan it's nip and tuck. Oh, he scoops it back. He's hurt himself sliding over the rope, I think, and all in vain, because the ball has run back down the slope onto the rope. He's all right. He's just getting a consolatory hand from former captain Tom Abel, and 4 runs go on the score. 98 for 1. Hughes on to 31. Another boundary. There have been too many boundaries this morning from the Somerset perspective. Pretorius tries again. He's in bowls to Hughes outside the off stump, and Hughes doesn't have to play a shot at that. We've had 16 boundaries. Thank you, Nicky. Nicky will be back with us after lunch, and Adrian comes in alongside, and he must be pretty pleased with Sussex's progress.
Yes, I think increasingly they batted very well. Very pleased with Tom Clark. Didn't have a great season last year, Tom. I was looking at his stats. He only made about 350 first-class runs and really struggled. But he started off the season well, and I guess it's all about confidence, really. In comes Josh Davey around the wicket, bowls to Tom Clark, who plays defensively to mid-off, and there is no run. Yeah, looking last season, he played in 12 matches, only made 366 first-class runs, and within that was a century as well. Leicestershire made 112, no doubt, so he averaged 24. He was opening the innings initially before Daniel Hughes arrived. He's always been a player with a lot of promise. In fact, I sort of joke a bit with his family, because several times he'll come in and play some lovely shots, and I say, he's a good player, this lad, and then he gets out. So no, I don't say that. Here comes Davey, bowls, and Clark is going to get more runs here. I think that came off the glove. It's sort of dribble down to... No, it didn't come off the thigh pad. Dribbles down to find a crank. That brings up the 100 up for Sussex. 102 for 1. They've scored a decent lick here this morning. Clark on 41, Hughes on 31. Yeah, I think on another day, Somerset may have picked up 2 or 3, Anthony, in that opening hour.
Yeah, I think both Davey and Gregory were short of a bit of luck. in their opening spells, but there's been some fairly ragged stuff as well from Pretorius and Aldridge.
Yeah, that Sussex have punished. As in comes Davey again, bowls to Clark, who plays down the offside for the track, and there is no run. We'll have a radio update shortly to the listeners on BBC Radio Sussex. Just the 3 slips in place now. 3 men in a ring, saving 1 on the offside. There's a backward point, cover mid-off, and a mid-on, mid-wicket, and a fine leg on the most glorious day. I mean, it's glorious right across the country, isn't it? But it's especially glorious here at Hove. Does look an absolute picture, and a good crowd, as you would expect. As Davey is in again. Bowls, and Clark stretches forward, plays to backward point, and there is no run. Josh Davey, hands on heads. He's almost had to bring Josh Davey back into the attack, hasn't he, in the last quarter of an hour or so?
Yeah.
Davey strides back to his mark at the Cromwell Road end of the ground. For those of you who are listening down in Somerset, maybe haven't been to Hove for a while, there's quite a significant slope. It's about a 10-foot drop from one end of the ground to the other, and it can be quite tricky to get used to that slope if you haven't bowled here before. Davey round the wicket, bowls to Clark, who plays that quite languidly between cover point and cover and picks up a single. Tom Clark, he goes to 42 and Sussex to 103 for 1. Sussex winning the toss here this morning. John Simpson very pleased to bat first on what looks a good pitch. For those Sussex supporters, it's the same pitch as was used against Northamptonshire, the opening game of last season, which was a good cricket wicket. So I think there will be a bit of spin later on, which will bring the likes of Carson and Leach.
Yeah, it'll be interesting comparing Carson and Leach, won't it?
Davey in bowls, and Hughes clips to mid on. He thought about a single, but it wasn't there. And it is the end of another Josh Davey over. He has bowled 9 overs, 1 made, no wicket for 31. Sussex are 103 for 1. Hughes on 31, Clark on 42. Yes, he bowled very nicely at Edgbaston last week, Jack Carson. He picked on a wicket that really wasn't giving him an awful lot of help. The one turned, but he picked up 5 wickets in the match and bowled very tidily. And what he did do was give John Simpson an element of control, because for a while the seamers were really being put to the sword by Rob Yates and Alex Davis. And he turned to Jack Carson, who bowled with control and picked up wickets. And if Sussex can score enough runs this season, you know, Carson could well be the ace in the pack.
Here comes Pretorius in bowls down the leg side. Tom Clark swings and misses. Yeah. Jack Carson, one of the best half-dozen spin bowlers in the country, judging by his record.
Yes, I mean, he picked up 50 first-class wickets in the Championship last year. I'm just going to do an update, Anthony, and then I'll come back to... Yes, thank you, Sarah. A glorious day here and a glorious start from Sussex as well. They're 103 for 1. They won the toss here this morning. Tom Clark going along very nicely. He's 42 not out. Daniel Hughes on 31. The one man out was Tom Haynes, who was bowled comprehensively by Lewis Gregory for 14 when the score was on 24. Sussex now 103 for 1 and going along very nicely. Maybe not the case though for Surrey up at the Oval. They were asked to bat by Hampshire and they're 103 for 3 in their first innings. Burns for 2, Pope for 14 and latterly Jamie Smith for 39 at the men out. Surrey 103 for 3.
Here's Pretorius. This is turned by Tom Clark into the onside, and he won't get a run. Yes, I mean you've got Jack Leach, Shoaib Bashir, Dawson, Liam Dawson at Hampshire, and Jack Carson would be up there.
Yeah,
and of course Simon Harmer, I think, is now qualified for England.
Is he really? The same as who's the Surrey bowler who qualifies for England?
Dan Worrell.
Yes.
It's Pretorius in bowls, turn, played back to the bowler, makes a good stop. Yeah, somebody, Richard Winter, a friend of mine who's a great Surrey supporter, sent me a text yesterday saying can't understand why they don't mention Harmer as a possibility for England, but I mean, he's a South African, and Worrell's an Australian, and we don't really want to be the League of Nations, do we?
No, I agree.
He's Pretorius in a bowls, and this is just dropped into the offside. Jack Leach will field from backward point. Another run on the board, 105 for one, I think, unless the scoreboard is very quick.
I think it is
very quick. 104 for one.
Yes, no, I'm with you. I mean, nothing against Dan Worrell or Simon Hull, but I think, in the Ashes, it just wouldn't feel quite right if Dan Worrell came and, took a load of wickets and we won the Ashes. I don't know. It just doesn't.
Pretorius in a bowls, and no shot this time from Daniel Hughes, who stays on 31. Tom Clark on 43, 104 for one at the end of that over. Yeah, I mean, if we've had South Africans in the England team in the past.
Of course, we have. But I think you're right.
Those were in the years when South Africa wasn't playing Test cricket. So Tony Greig and Chris Smith and Robin Smith and Alan Lamb and so on. I mean, there were quite a few of them, but more batsmen than bowlers.
Yeah, it just feels like we ought to be able to produce through the county cricket system through our own. As in comes Josh Davey down the hill, bowls to Tom Clark, who thought about driving that one extravagantly through the covers, and at the last moment he just checked his shot and played it into the offside, and there is no run. 3 slips, 3 men saving one on the offside, a mid-on, mid-wicket and a fine leg. Good crowd in. Hats very much the order of the day. Many people wearing shorts as well. It's just the perfect spring day. There's no other word to describe it. Not a cloud in the sky. So often at this time of the year where people are muffled up in hats and coats and we're sitting inside while it's raining. It's just an absolute delight to be here. There's Davey around the wicket, bowls, and Clark is rather caught in two minds and plays rather cross-batted down the onside of the track. And there is no run. And the good news from the BBC is that the BBC have renewed their contract with the ECB. There's 4 more years of county cricket coverage online if you can't get to the games to listen to. It's Tom Clark. He just waits. Umpire Rob White just holds out his hand, and he's going to change the angle of attack here. Is Josh Davey. He's going to come over the wicket to the left-handed Clark. Nice buzz around the ground as well. Davey is in again. Bowls on Clark's beat. It's bowled well, Josh Davey. I think he's in his 10th over. Figures of 0 for 31 with 1 maiden. And on another day he might have picked up 2 or 3 before lunch. He's gone past the outside edge of both Hughes and Clark, and also when Tom Haynes was in on several occasions. But he's bowled without luck.
Makes you wonder how many wickets Somerset might have if Craig Overton had been in the side. I can understand the logic of resting him with those 3 big games coming up, but I hope it's not a decision they live to regret.
Davey bowls, and Clark again looked like he was going to get that on go. Played very late and played it to backward point, no run. Interesting what you were saying as well, Anthony, about Josh Tongue, who, he missed all of last season with a pack injury, so you can understand that England are maybe being a little cautious. On the other hand, that there is this sort of feeling that fast bowlers need miles in the legs. You need to bowl.
Absolutely.
But maybe reflective of the fact that England have got real problems, haven't they, around the fast bowling group. Ollie Stone now out for a while. Mark Wood. Nobody knows what's really about Jofra Archer at the moment. As Davey is in again. Bowls, and Clark is struck on the pad. Maybe an inside edge on that, I suspect. And Josh Davey just feeling the back of his leg then. I hope it's not a twinge in the hamstring.
He is, isn't he? Oh dear. That's all Somerset need. Yeah. Oh dear. Any sign of Jofra Archer here? You have obviously it's his first game, so.
Yeah.
Is he with the Sussex camp, or is he away?
Yeah, he's away.
Getting fit.
He's out in the IPL.
He's not playing in the IPL.
Yeah, he is.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, crikey.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he. So we'll talk about that in a minute. Just look at Josh Davey. Let's hope it's just a little bit of cramp or something for Josh Davey, because Somerset can ill afford to lose their opening bowler.
He looks uncomfortable to me.
Davey in bowls. He wraps Tom Clark on the thigh pad. The ball bounces out into the offside. There is no run. End of the over. 104 for 1. Hughes 31. Clark on 43. Yes, he was. He actually. Jofra won't be pleased with the record. He was dispatched for 76 in 4 overs. Of
course he was, yeah.
Which was a record a couple of weeks ago. But he was. I think the feeling around at the beginning of the winter months was that for Jofra to really play any Test cricket this summer, that he would need to play some 4-day cricket at some stage. So I think there was some hope that there might be an attack of Robinson, Seals and Archer that would have been fun to watch. But then the IPL brought in this ruling: if you didn't play in the IPL this year, you can't play, I think, for the next 2 years, which I think, just break off for a minute.
Pretorius in and bowls, and this is cut away through the offside off the back foot. Nice shot by Daniel Hughes. Short and wide. It won't go for 4. Oh, yes, it will.
Yes.
It will. It's quite difficult to spot the boundary rope on that side of the ground because it coincides with the boundary between a dark strip and a light strip, he says, finding an excuse for himself. 108 for 1.
So yeah, I think once that decision had been made, 'cause I think the ECB were probably quite keen for him to play some county cricket as well, but I think everybody, once that rule came in, the decision was made he could go.
Pretorius in and bowls outside the off stump. No shot this time from Hughes. So the IPL goes on until when? The end?
Well, forever. I mean, it just... Yeah.
22nd of May. Yeah.
So, there is some... I think India A are touring, so there is some thought that maybe Jofra might play some of that if he's going to play in the Indian series. But that would be the first red ball cricket he's played for a long time.
A long time.
So we'll just have to see how he is.
Pretorius in bowls outside the off stump to Hughes, who lets it go through to James Room.
I don't know whether Jofra's stepdad Patrick is listening. If you are listening over in Barbados, often gets in touch. We've got some real Barbados weather here this spring, Patrick. But no, it does say much, doesn't it, about the fast bowling, where England are with fast bowlers, with the Ashes looming, and people are they're having to wrap some of these fast bowlers in cotton wool.
Is Pretorius. He's there, bowls, and just dabbed down into the offside by Daniel Hughes.
I'm not sure that Gus Atkinson is playing. Is this a look at Surrey? He didn't play in the first round of matches.
No, he didn't.
No, he's not playing in this round either. I think he may have some sort of a niggle.
Either that or it's his annual appraisal. Well, there were several of the England players who weren't allowed to play.
Really?
Yes. Yeah,
seriously?
Yeah.
Oh dear. What's going on?
Is Pretorius in and bowls. Oh, and yes, Hughes in a certain amount of trouble.
And that's why... sorry, Anthony, I'm a little bit low on the... That's why, Anthony, actually... with Ollie Robinson, who's clearly fallen out of favour with England, but I mean, Ollie had expressed at the end of last season, he said he was really keen to get into the Ashes squad, and he was a long way away. But you thought, with all these injuries, if you could start the season and take a stack of wickets, that you might be putting your name in the frame. So it's a shame he's picked up this injury.
Pretorius in and bowls, and this is cut fiercely through the offside for 4 runs. Poor delivery from Pretorius and cut away hard through the offside by Daniel Hughes, who moves on to 39, 112 for 1. Another undistinguished over from Pretorius, who's bowled 5 overs for 26. And Somerset attack looking pretty toothless at the moment. But the good news is that Josh Davey, I think, is going to continue. He's in discussion with his captain. No, he's not going to continue. I think Gregory's going to come back into the attack, which is maybe planned or maybe in response to Josh Davey rubbing his left hamstring, I think, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Back of his left thigh.
Yes, it was.
It is indeed going to be Gregory coming back into the attack.
Now, very good afternoon, wherever you're listening from. Live cricket here on the BBC as Lewis Gregory comes in over the wicket to bowl to Tom Clark, who stretches forward and plays into the covers, and there is no run. Away to our right-hand side, we have the hospitality area, people arriving for their lunch, probably a local business group People very smartly turned out. Lots of shaking of hands and welcoming of people. Glasses of wine, I can see some canapes or something being brought round on a tray. It all looks very civilised. People sitting down enjoying the cricket as Gregory makes his way in. Over the wicket and bowls, and left-handed Clark. I think he might have been beaten by that one outside the off stump.
Yeah.
One of those, did he pull the bat inside the line? Either way, it whistled through to James Rue, and there is no run. BBC Radio Sussex, BBC Somerset, Adrian Harms, Anthony Gidsman, Nikki Chowdhury, your commentary team here today. If you'd like to get in touch, sussexcricket@bbc.co.uk, or you can tweet @andgib. Either way, your messages will get through. It'd be lovely to hear from you throughout the course of the day. As Gregory, right arm over the wicket, in again, bowls to Clark. This time he is beaten outside of the off stump. All goes through to James Rue, and Lewis Gregory looks rueful, as if to say, we've not quite had the rub of the green here this morning.
No, he hasn't. He has bowled well, Lewis Gregory, as well. He's head and shoulders above the rest. Josh Davies bowled pretty well. Pretorius and Aldridge very far from their best. I'm surprised we haven't seen the Jack Leach yet. Usually give the spinner a couple of overs just before lunch, just to see if there's anything in the pitch.
Lovely little buzz around the ground, all chatting away as Gregory is in again, bowls, and Clark turns this firmly to mid-wicket. There is no run. Nice email in from Steve Harris, who's a regular Sussex supporter, lives up in the northeast of Scotland, up near Aberdeen in Stonehaven. Regularly comes down to Hove. Look forward to catching up with Steve later on in the season. He says it's beautiful in Stonehaven, but looking at the stream makes one feel very jealous. It looks like heaven on earth. That's pretty good description, I reckon. I can imagine this being at Taunton as well. We'd be looking at the Quantocks.
We would.
Anthony. That would look magnificent as well. In comes Gregory, bowls. Clark is forward. He's wrapped on the pad again. I can only assume maybe a little inside edge onto pad.
Gregory didn't really appeal.
No. He says another fine start from Sussex. Maybe this is the year Tom Clark really breaks through. He's 43 not out. The stream is out of kilter. It looks like a stuttering computer game, but I'm sure it'll get sorted. It's a new one this year, I think. Great news, we have 4 more years at least of the BBC broadcasting county cricket. We are very lucky, says Steve. Enjoy the game. Thank you, Steve. Look forward to seeing you later in the season as Gregory is in again, bowls, and that's a lovely looking shot by Tom Clark, but it doesn't beat the fielder at mid-off. A good tumbling save. And a maiden over from Lewis Gregory. 8 overs, 2 maidens, 1 for 26. Sussex 112 for 1. Hughes on 39. Clark on 44. And another email has come in from James Worley, who says, hello Adrian and team, great to have county cricket back. I'm really interested in Hunt coming in for Robinson, a big test for him. I wonder what that means for Ari's involvement this year. That's Ari Cabelos. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him out on loan before long. Are you surprised not to see Crocombe in the side? Well, Henry Crocombe, as we understand, we're going to get some spin actually, has a...
it's not Leach though, it's Vaughan.
Archie Vaughan. Briefly, Henry Crocombe has a shoulder issue. I've no idea of the severity of it, but it certainly kept him out of these opening 2 games. And with Ollie Robinson out as well, the Sussex bowling resource is just a little stretched at the moment, so I think very keen for Harry Cavelos to be in and around the squad.
Archie Vaughan then going to bowl to Daniel Hughes, who's on 39, 112 for 1, Sussex. Vaughan in bowls, and just a little bit short, but just hurries Hughes in his defensive push into the offside, picked up by Tom Abel. We've got just Lewis Gregory, the skipper, at slip, the only close catcher. This is cut away down to backward point. Pretorius makes a stop eventually, and they come through for a single. 113 for 1. Hughes on to 40. Tom Clark has slowed down just recently, 43 off 67, as he's forward to this one. Plays it square in the wicket. Pretorius picks up another single, moves on to 44. He was going along at better than a run a ball for his first 40 runs. Yes. Become a little bit becalmed since then. Crowd building up all the time here at the First Central County Ground at Hove, as that's defended by Daniel Hughes. overlooking an absolute picture, County Ground, looking at its very best. Vaughan in bowls, draws Hughes forward, won't get a run, plays it straight to Tom Abel. Archie Vaughan, who bowled a lot of overs on Monday against Worcestershire, another defensive shot. Regards himself as a batsman who bowls a bit of bowls off spin, but predominantly a batsman who bowls rather than a fully fledged all-rounder. Yeah, he bowled 50 overs in that Worcestershire second innings. 50 overs, 14 maidens, one for 119. Jack Leach bowled 65 overs in that innings, 4 for 107.
You've had sore fingers. Just a couple of notices. The Sussex Cricket Museum will be open at lunchtime. In comes Lewis Gregory running down the hill from the Cromwell Road in bowls to Tom Clark, who lets that one pass by outside the off stump, taken by James Rue, and there is no run. There is a book sale going on over there, as I can see a few people having a little mooch around looking at the books. The museum will be officially open for the season at lunchtime. I'm very proud to say that I'm going to be cutting the tape, so looking forward to popping over there at lunchtime and meeting up with Keith Ridge and all the volunteers who make the museum work at so many county grounds where the volunteers are in charge of the museum and do a wonderful job. Gregory in again, bowls, Clark plays slightly uppishly to mid-wicket but perfectly safely, and there is no run. I know one or two are struggling to watch the live stream. There's been some issues this morning, but just to clearly one thing you can do is to listen to the game via the BBC website, where you'll get the same commentary from Anthony, myself and Nikki, and indeed on all the county games around the country. And I'll give you an update on the scores in those as we go through the over. Lewis Gregory is in and bowls, and Clark is beaten. Is he caught behind? Lewis Gregory convinced he's got his man. It wasn't an over-convincing appeal from the slip cordon, but Gregory was certainly convinced he'd got his man. Umpire Rob White at the far end said not out. So briefly around the country, Durham 100 for 2 against Warwickshire at the Riverside. Nottinghamshire in all sorts of trouble at Trent Bridge. They're 78 for 5 against Essex. 2 wickets there for Porter, 2 for Sam Cook, 1 for Shane Snater. So not 2-1 last week, their opening game against Durham in trouble. Surrey 116 for 3 at the Oval against Hampshire as Gregory makes his way in. Bowls, and Clark turns that without timing onto the leg side, and there is no run. The total remains 114 for 1. Yorkshire 94 for 1 at Headingley against Worcestershire. In the second division, Gloucestershire 90 for 1 against Glamorgan. Middlesex 86 for 3 against Kent at Canterbury. Northamptonshire 79 for 2 against Lancashire at Old Trafford. And Leicestershire started the season really well, 129 for 1 against Derbyshire. At Grace Road, in comes Gregory, bowls. Clark is solidly forward, plays back down the track, and there is no run. Sol Budinger 81 not out there.
Just going back to that appeal for a catch behind, it went really sharply off the pitch, the delivery from Gregory, and you can understand why he must have thought it took an edge to move as much as it did.
Gregory in bowls, Clark defends with good length delivery, plays into the offside. There is no run. End of the over, 114 for 1. Hughes on 40, Clark is on 44. The clock ticking around to about 5 to 1. I think we'll probably have another couple of overs before lunch, Anthony.
Especially with Archie Vaughan to bowl the first of them. But it went like a fast off break. Obviously leaving the left-hander. We've jacked back into a right-hander. But I'm surmising that there was no noise. So although it looked as if it must have taken the edge, it didn't. Vaughan in bowls. Oh, and Hughes back on his stumps and hurried into that. Comes off the inside edge of the bat out to backward square leg, where Josh Davey Picks up, and Tom Clark just giving the pitch a bit of a prod, as if that one may have turned. Haven't seen the replay yet, but the way it was played suggested it might have done. There's Vaughan again, and Clark down the pitch strokes this up to Tom Lammonby. First time Lammonby's had the ball in his hands. He's at a deepish mid-off to the left-handers. Vaughan in and bowls, and good length ball. He's got this characteristic start of his run-up, Adrian, you notice he just picks up his right heel.
Oh, I'm going to watch that. I hadn't noticed that. I'm going to watch it now.
There it goes. He's in and bowls, and draws a respectful forward defensive shot from Daniel Hughes, who's on 41, 116 for 1. Good morning for Sussex. Slightly worrying morning from the Somerset perspective. Craig Overton not in the team, rested. Lewis Gregory bowling well without much luck. This is played into the offside. There won't be a run as Sean Dixon picks up, and neither Casey Aldridge nor Miguel Pretorius bowling as well as they can do. Vaughan in bowls, and Hughes again stretches forward. It's second over for Archie Vaughan. He's conceded the 4 runs. Nothing very obvious there to suggest that this wicket is going to take spin, certainly earlier on in the game. Might do later on.
One more over to go until lunch, and Somerset have bowled their overs at a decent lick. They bowled 29 this morning, which is good to see. Just regards, I'm sure you've been asked this before, Anthony, but with Archie Vaughan, I mean, how does he sort of? It must be difficult when you've got a famous father who's, you know.
Archie's very much his own man.
Yeah,
he's very much his own man. He's
Here comes Gregory, and the wicket bowls to Clark up on his toes. Is that to backward point, no run?
He I wouldn't say he distances himself from his father, because that's ridiculous. But he doesn't like to be thought of as Michael Vaughan's son. He likes to be thought of as Archie Vaughan, cricketer.
Yeah. I mean, I always thought it must have been difficult for the likes of Alex Stewart, for example. I mean, let's face it, his dad was an England selector, you know, and it must. And you know, Michael Vaughan's got a very high profile around the media as well, and has some very forthright views on the game. He's not slow in coming forward and expressing those. As in comes Gregory bowls. Marcus forward, the ball bounces down the onside of the track, and there is no run.
Michael Vaughan was at Taunton last weekend to watch Archie open the innings for Somerset.
Stephen in Berkhamsted must be a Somerset fan. He says, I'm listening today. I couldn't listen last week as I was away with the family. You will hear little from me. I'm part of the Exodus and now an expat.
He's one of our most regular correspondents, is Stephen from Berkhamsted.
Oh, there we go. In comes Gregory bowls. Clark defends into the onside. There is no run. Well, thank you for getting in touch. Good to have your company this week, and you can join our conversation. Sussex Cricket at bbc.co.uk, or tweet at @AntGib. Final over before lunch. And as Anthony says, very much Sussex this morning, having won the toss this morning. The only man out, Tom Haynes, who was bowled by Lewis Gregory for 14 when the score was on 24. But these two. In comes Gregory bowls, and Clark is 4, plays down the offside. The track is no run. These two have survived some scares. It hasn't been faultless.
Been some close calls.
They have. Yeah, they have.
Close LBW appeal for a catch behind in Gregory's previous over.
Very colourful scene away to our right-hand side with these people coming for the business lunch, all sorts of pinks and purples and summer dresses and jackets out for the men and pink shirts, and all very summery. As in comes Gregory bowls, and Tom Clark makes the most delightful extra cover drive up towards the players' pavilion. That's a good tumbling stop. No, it's not. The ball has gone over the boundary rope for 4 runs. Lovely shot by Clark. He goes to 49. Didn't hammer the ball, it was just beautifully timed. Half volley from Lewis Gregory. Sussex go to 120 for 1.
Tom Banton, valiant effort.
It was. I always worry, Anthony, particularly early in the season when players are diving around and you think, you know, you might prevent one run, but you don't want to hurt a shoulder and then find you're out for weeks on end. That's the way the game is these days, as in comes Gregory again. Bowls, and Clark's hit on the thigh pad. It's another no ball from Lewis Gregory. I reckon that's at least 5 this morning that Lewis Gregory has bowled, coming down the hill from the Cromwell Road end. There's a big block of flats behind Lewis Gregory and some really ugly scaffolding right down the middle of those flats. Looks like you could do with a coat of paint, actually. I thought that last summer. It hasn't been done yet, as in comes Gregory again. Bowls, and Clark again is struck on the thigh, but the ball bounces down in front of him, and that will be the final ball of the morning session. You can hear the applause around home. Sussex going to lunch 122 for 1 with Haynes. It's not Haynes at all, it's Hughes on 41, Clark on 49. Tom Haynes the man out for 14. Sussex winning the toss, electing to bat first, and fairly obvious to say, Anthony, it's very much been Sussex's morning.
Certainly has. Lewis Gregory's bowled well, 1 for 32 in 10 overs. Josh Davies' figures don't flat him, none for 31 in 10 overs. He went past the bat several times, had a couple of good LBW appeals turned down, but Casey Aldridge none for 23 in 3, Miguel Pretorius none for 26 in 5. The Somerset second and first and second change bowlers not performing as well as they can do, and as a result of that, Sussex have got off to a fast start.
A little surprised not to see Jack Leach before lunch?
Well, I think it's slightly odd.